Some of the Republicans that I served with never said a bad word about me. I've never said a bad word about them. A lot of them do the obligatory, well, she's a Democrat, I'm a Republican, so obviously I have to say something. But then there are those who've kind of fallen off the edge and have so changed their personality, in my view, their politics.
Like a Lindsey Graham?
Like a Lindsey Graham, exactly.
Like, is he blowing your mind now? Because he's a completely different guy.
I traveled with him because he was, a very good buddy of John McCain, who I admired and liked enormously. So I traveled all over the world with McCain and Lindsey and other senators. And Lindsey was good company, he was funny, he was self-deprecating. He also believed in climate change back in those days.
Really?
And yes.
Like he would say, I'm concerned about the future for my children.
Well, he doesn't have any children, but he was concerned about the future. Yeah, absolutely. And so I saw him as somebody who, had been working to try to figure out what he believed and how he could do things.
Has he sold his soul to the devil?
I don't know the answer to that. I think that's a fair question, however. And what I don't understand is how he went from being the friend and the real confidant of the maverick, John McCain, who I didn't agree with politically, but I found him to be a man of integrity, a man of real strength of conviction.
The guy spent 5 years as a prisoner of war.
Yeah, have you ever been to Hanoi? Have you seen that cell he stayed in for 5 years?
It's a tiger cage.
God, it's unbelievable. And so I admired John. I became really friendly with him. I felt like he was a true friend. And so then Lindsey, all of a sudden, John McCain tragically dies too soon.
Right.
After standing up for health care, which was astounding and so in character for him. And now, I don't know what's happened to Lindsey Graham. I'll be honest with you, I haven't talked to him in a long time. He wrote, how Time Magazine has like the top 100 people and all that. One year, I don't know, back a couple of years ago when I was in it, he wrote the tribute to me. And then now it's like he had a brain snatch. It's like he had a brain snatch. It's like he had a brain snatch.
Pure corruption. For instance, I still ask the FBI, where is the server? How come the FBI never got the server from the DNC? Where is the server? I want to see the server. Let's see what's on the server. So the server, they say, is held by a company whose primary ownership individual is from Ukraine. I'd like to see the server. I think it's very important for this country to see the server. Nobody wants to see it. The media never wants to see it, but I'll tell you, Republicans want to see it.
So from henceforth, Donald Trump will be known at Camelot Castle as Sir Donald Trump of Camelot. I think he is one of the most noble men today in the world, and I think what he is doing is something that will go down in history, and I think King Arthur would be proud.
And you'd like him sat here at this very table?
Or we'd be honoured.
And now he's apparently been made a Knight of the Round Table in Tintagel and can call himself Sir. Heidi Davey reports.
Well, as the legend goes here in Tintagel, only the best knights in King Arthur's kingdom are invited to sit at the prestigious Round Table. It's an honour bestowed on only a few, and Donald Trump has now been added to that list. The question is, though, why?
And this is the man who can answer that question. Meet John Mappin, who owns the Camelot Castle Hotel and has his very own TV studio at the Round Table. As the process for selection is extremely serious here in North Cornwall.
We do it very, very rarely, and we do it, it is a great honour because the Noble Order of Camelot Castle is something that we do take very, very seriously.
John, we're here at the Round Table. Why Donald Trump?
You know, he's unowned. And it's the first time really that America has had the opportunity to vote for somebody that isn't controlled by special interests. And we followed his campaign from the very beginning. And of course, he's saying things that really have not been said for a while, and he's broaching conversations that perhaps are due to be broached. America is in a very dangerous financial situation at the moment. If there were to be a crisis of confidence in the dollar, that would affect everybody all over the world. And it's vital that a good manager is President of the United States, and he has got an amazing track record in business and knows how to run things.
But there's no denying, with that aside, he is a very controversial figure at the moment. And so, bearing that in mind, and where you're based, several thousand miles away, where did the idea come to make him an honorary knight? What made you decide one day that that was the move you were going to take?
Well, we saw what he did for the veterans. And in America, there is a very serious situation where people who have gone to war, and whether you agree with the war or whether you don't agree with the war, what I think we can all agree with is that veterans should get the correct medical help that they need when they come back. And what Donald Trump has done is he has raised a tremendous amount of money for the veterans, and he has promised to make sure that they get the medical help that they need. I think the waiting lists in America for veterans to receive the medical help that they need is highest ever. And he is somebody who has really done something in that regard, and I think that's a very noble thing to draw attention to.
But I think many viewers maybe sat at home will say, you're over all the way here in Cornwall. Is it a publicity stunt? Is that why you've decided to do it?
No, not at all. Obviously, that has been suggested. It isn't. It is simply that we recognize the fact that whoever is elected as President of the United States is going to affect our lives. Let's be fair. You know, we have ended up in 2 wars as a result of the relationship that we have with the American president. Most people in England did not want to end up in those wars. Donald Trump was one of the few public figures that was completely opposed to the Iraq War. And you may remember, most people in England didn't want to go into the Iraq War. So I think who is elected as President of the United States affects us all. You know, we are these days very, very connected as a community. And so I think we have every right to weigh in on who we think would be the optimum President for the United States.
Bringing it to perhaps a more flippant but slightly more light-hearted note.
Yes.
Do you do this very often? It's quite an unusual move to suddenly
Well,
declare you're making an honorary knight.
Yes, we do it very, very rarely. And we do it, it is a great honour because the Noble Order of Camelot Castle is something that we do take very, very seriously. We have granted knighthoods previously. Some of them obviously are private for obvious reasons. I think he is one of the most noble men today in the world, and I think what he is doing is something that will go down in history. And I think King Arthur would be proud.
Like him sat here at this very table?
Well, we'd be honoured. So from henceforth, Donald Trump will be known at Camelot Castle as Sir Donald Trump of Camelot.